Hi, Richard Smith here from the Internet Consultancy. I am pleased to let you have the audio of a very, very brief interview that I managed to carry out with our public relations specialist, Judy Sharp, recently. The background is a bit noisy because we were in the back of a pub, believe it or not. And there wasn't much I could do about it, but it doesn't really detract from the 10 minutes of pure gold that's contained in the interview. I hope you enjoy it. It's got lots of information in there if you're running a small or medium-sized business and are considering using the power of PR to drive your business marketing forward. And if you need any more information, the contact details for both myself and Judy Sharp are contained in the interview. So with that in mind, make the most of the interview which is coming up now. And I'm here with Judy Sharp, our PR specialist. You'll find on judysharp.co.uk.
Certainly is.
So we're here to talk about PR and how public relations can help you and your business. I'm going to get Judy in a second to give us a short introduction, and we're going to talk about why you use PR to promote your business. So, Judy.
Richard, hi, it's great to be here. Sun shining through the window, interesting music in the background. I started in PR and communications more than 30 years ago. I worked for large companies here in the UK. Then I moved into Europe. I had my own companies on Gibraltar doing PR, advertising, strategic planning, all of that stuff. And then I spent 18 years freelancing in the Algarve in sunny Portugal. And I came back to England in the summer of 2010. What I've realised since I've been back is that actually the principles have not changed at all, and the principles of marketing, PR and communication are the same, whatever size of company and whichever century we're in. The only benefit now, of course, is that the internet makes it so much easier and quicker to communicate with so many more people. But that's your specialist area.
Yeah, it certainly is. So how long have you been doing marketing and PR, Judy?
More than 30 years now.
Okay, so you've got time served and you've done your apprenticeship.
I've got my apprenticeship, I've got the T-shirt, and I've almost got the bus pass as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my bus pass, in all fairness, Judy. So when we're looking to use PR to promote a business, what would you say are the key areas of importance for a small business to use PR?
I think the principles are the same for all companies, but particularly for a small business. Often the guy or the lady who's running a business knows all about that business, knows it really, really well, is not necessarily a PR or marketing specialist. That's number one. Number two, they're often so busy looking after their business and growing their business, they don't have time to focus on those PR, marketing, communications issues.
Okay.
And thirdly, it's the proverbial wood for the trees syndrome. You can be so busy in it that you can't see it from the outside. And often it helps to have that objective view from somebody who comes in on the outside and says, why, how, where, for what. And that's not always in a negative sense, of course, but it's useful for a business owner to have a sounding board.
Okay, so that unblinkered approach, unblinkered view of
It's the unblinkered approach, and it can often help. In my experience, I found I bring a view to a small business that says, well, you know what's happening with your business, I know what's happening out there in the big wide world. Let's bring the two together.
Yep. Perfect, okay. So certainly from our point of view, when we're working businesses on their internet marketing and their online presence side of it, it is, we've proved time and time again that what happens is that most business owners are too close to the business to see the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
And very often the competitive analysis is not done, and they sit there assuming that the things that were working for them 1 or 2 or 3 years ago will continue to work, and of course that's no longer the case. Okay, in relation to these three areas of using PR for the business, there is product and business awareness, there is issues of marketing, and there's issues of brand building. Would you say they're equally important, or one or more plays a bigger part?
I think they are all important, and it all depends what's happening with the company, what priority you put them in at any one time. If it's a brand new company and it's just starting out, then it really is a case of establishing an identity either for the company or for the brand or service. It is a fact, perhaps, if you're coming into a marketplace, if new competitors are coming in, you've got to differentiate yourself, you've got to establish why you're different, why you're better, why people should come to you. So they are all important. It's just a case of which comes first or whether they've all got to be treated equally.
Okay. We spoke earlier about your drip approach. Can you explain that to us?
Oh yes, I'm a great favourite, drips, Chinese water torture they call it. A company, particularly a small company, tends to think that if they send out a press release or if they've managed to get an article in the local magazine or the local paper, then that's it. They don't have to do anything else for a year. Wrong. Research has consistently found that consumers buy the brands and the names that they are familiar with. And you only achieve that either by a very expensive advertising campaign or by a drip, drip, drip communications, public relations exercise. So you might not be able to place articles in your local paper, your local magazine every week or every month, but just a couple of lines. Perhaps you've sponsored a local football team and you managed to get something in there. Perhaps you've organised a charity event, you get a couple of lines in there. So people are reading your name and a little bit about you in association with all different sorts of other things that build the right sort of image and the right sort of feeling. So when they're out in the marketplace for whatever it is you're selling, yours is the name that comes to their mind. It's a drip, drip, drip process.
Absolutely, I would agree with that, and certainly from our point of view, where we're trying to make businesses Googleable, or this issue of Googleability, the more information you've got out there in the marketplace from various sources just adds to that being found online. And I think it's important that we live in a very noisy world at the moment. We've been marketing messages are coming from every angle, and particularly online, where most people have got the focus of a P, flitting from one page to another. Being able to get a good deal of information out there is helpful if you're going to try and build your brand or use your PR for marketing. Certainly, from my point of view, the use of PR to fit in with the rest of your marketing and your website does add a lot of value. Not only is PR going to get your business out there from a Google point of view, but we're hoping that some decent PR, some decent stories will be picked up by, hopefully, the popular press or even the local press to add a bit more value to the rest of the market perception of your business. But on this idea of using PR, I reckon it's really straightforward as far as I'm concerned, not being a PR specialist. We generate an idea, we create some copy or some words, an article's written, and then we send out a press release to arrange your publications. Tell me it's that simple, Judy.
I would love to tell you it's that simple, Richard. No, it's not, really. You can do that, and that would be like blowing up one balloon and letting it off into the big blue sky.
It's that balloon story again.
Yes, it's the balloon. You don't really know where it's going. It looks very pretty, and you can watch it go off somewhere, but you don't really know where it's going, and there's no follow-up. What I would like to do, again, with a company of any size, is to have a plan. I always get told that I'm far too organised. I was born with a filofax in my mouth. I'm an organised sort of person, and you need to have a plan. You don't know when you've got there unless you know where you're going to. And that applies in PR terms as well as it does in having sales targets or whatever. So you need to know what the objectives are. And the nice thing about PR is that it is a tool that can be used for so many different purposes. It can be used, for instance, to prepare a company for sale.
Yep.
If you're planning to sell your company in 5 years, fine, start to prepare the ground now, start to send out the PR. Conversely, it could be used to prepare for redundancies or closures. Sadly, there's more of that nowadays in certain areas.
That's true.
It can be used for supporting new product launches. For instance, if you've got a new product or a service to the range, blast that out through PR. Don't just bring it in and stick it on the shelf and hope somebody will find it. Announce it. It can be used to highlight milestones within the company. Not just the receptionist who's been promoted to a secretary, but big achievements. We've made our millionth blue and white stripy widget. We've moved into big new offices. We're expanding. Or, as a last resort, it can be used to encounter bad press. We've all had examples recently where companies have had to call in people to counter bad press about them. It could be something that a competitor's put out which is totally untrue. It could be something like, a fire at the premises. It could be, in an extreme example, think of BP in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, my God, how bad was that PR initially? So
I think disaster is the right word on that one, Judy. I think we can safely say that.
Our chief executive is on holiday. He is unable to take any press calls right now. Okay. So PR actually does have a major role to play in all aspects of the company, but it is more efficient if it is part of an overall plan and if you know why you're doing it. Yes, you can send out a press release, of course you can, and you can put it out through all the channels you've mentioned, all the print, broadcast and online. But if you know why you're doing it and if you know what's going to follow it, then it is far more efficient.
We concur with that completely, certainly as a business owner that works with other businesses on their on and offline strategies. This whole issue of having some focus is vitally important. As I keep saying to people, you can't market to everyone. You need to focus, and that obviously needs to fit in with everything else you're doing. Okay, so last but not least, Judy, why would someone want to use the services of an experienced PR firm like yourselves?
I think this comes back to some of the things we've touched on already, in that people who are running their companies know their businesses very well, but they don't necessarily understand the mechanics of PR and marketing.
Yep.
They don't understand how it works. They might be specialists in widgets, but they don't understand marketing. They don't have time. They're too busy looking after their business and making sure it's on the right track and so on. They don't have time to dedicate to the marketing, the PR, the communication strategy. Thirdly, it is very useful to have somebody who sits outside of the ring looking in rather than people who are inside looking out. And somebody who, quite frankly, has the ability to say to the managing director, well, actually, I don't think that's quite right. Because often within a company you have people who don't want to say that to the boss.
Absolutely.
And it's very useful to have somebody totally independent who has experience in their own industry, in this case PR and marketing and communications, to say, well, actually out here in the big wide world, it's like this, Mr. Boss. And maybe you could benefit from a slight change of direction or whatever. So it's acknowledging that the company owner knows his own business but not necessarily marketing. It's freeing up his time or her time to do what he's good at and bringing in somebody who's good at their specialist areas, and it's having that independent point of view.
Perfect. Okay, well, I think that sort of sums up this very brief interview with Judy Sharp from judysharp.co.uk. My name is Richard Smith, one part of a business called the Internet Consultancy and therichardsmith.com. Now you know all about PR and how PR should be working within your business, and I suggest respectfully that you make contact with Judy as soon as possible. Thanks very much. Do apologise for the sound quality, by the way. There's a bit of a noisy pub, this one today. Thanks very much, and forward to hearing from you soon.